Open Live Q&A. My name is Mr. McLogan, and I'm ready to do some math today. You know what? I think it's about time to bring back some of that. But before I get to any math, I will take any questions you guys have. We'll go for a little bit longer that you have. It is an open live Q&A, so if you do have just a question, feel free to put it down into the chat, and I will do my best to answer it. If you have a math question, then you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I really need to get my overlays back up, but I'll go ahead and put those back into there. Let's see if I can find my old one that I used. I might have deleted them. Hopefully I did not delete them, but there we go. If you have a question, you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. It's right up there. It'll also be in the description of this video. So just go ahead and click down there. You can go and get it. And I am working my way back through some of your guys' questions. I know that's not really timely, and I apologize for that. One of the things I am looking into doing is revealing a way that we'll be able to be more consistent answering your guys' questions, because not being a math teacher in the classroom each and every day, I just don't get that ability to answer questions. And of course, like when I'm going through videos, like I'm going through some of my past videos, or I'm going through, books and notes that I have, like I'm going back through a lot of the stuff that I did as a teacher, or that was related to the stuff that I taught inside the classroom, which is really good because sometimes some stuff I haven't taught, in a really long time, such as Algebra 1 or geometry or calculus, and as well as other courses. But the problem with that is a lot of the questions you guys submit is stuff that I'm just not as always used to. That's why I always submit. I always love if you have questions, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And then again, I'll try to do my best to work through some of those questions. But if you have anything like math question, or you want me to try to give you some advice on anything that you are working on throughout this year, I know the school year is kind of now in session. And there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some challenges that are going to go through. Sometimes the school year starts strong and you're feeling good and you're like, I don't need to watch this guy's videos. I'm liking my teacher. I'm liking my class. And then there's other times where you're like, holy crap, I'm in over my head. I did not prepare well enough for this course. I need help, right? And that's where you start binge watching, videos on YouTube and trying to figure out what is the best way to learn this stuff, or understand this because I got a quiz or a test the next day. We've all been there. I totally get it. And again, I can relate to those struggles because that's exactly what I was as a struggling math student when I was going through high school. And it wasn't until my years of college that I was able to understand how I could learn math and understand what it takes to kind of be successful in math. Now, I only earned my bachelor's in mathematics, so I'm not any, math savant, but I had to work really hard for it. And math was always something I enjoyed, but I'm not a math dork in the sense of like, I love math and that's everything I always want to talk about or do, right? I feel like I'm a very normal person in that regard, whereas math did not come easy to me. I can relate with people like, math stinks. I don't understand it. Why are we learning this stuff? Like, I relate to those things. I said the exact same things when I was a student. So I always try to convey that in my videos, and I appreciate you guys jumping on for this live stream. So if you have questions, go down and put it down in the chat. I will start working through some of those. And then if we have some time, we'll get into some of the math questions that you guys have submitted over to me. And again, if you have a math question or a problem that you would like me to do on this live stream, you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. The overlay is right up there, but I am going to go ahead and take it away. All right. Hey, him. Good to have you on. Hey, Araf. Good to always have you on as well. Thank you so much. Are you the GOAT of math teachers? I don't think so. I really don't. I'm amazed and like kind of blown away by the talent of teachers that I even taught with that were next to me through my time as a teacher. And I think teachers are so underappreciated in that aspect where they have a true craft. And sometimes it's kind of like, it's even like a painter. Sometimes we don't really truly appreciate what a teacher has done for us until years later. And that's why I always think it's very important, if a teacher has impacted you or they have pushed you, helped you understand things, or helped you reach somewhere where you didn't think it was capable, to go back to them and make sure you say thank you. That's the best gift that I always could receive as a teacher. And I think it's really important for you to do that, because teachers can be stressed and they don't see those immediate rewards day in and day out, teaching inside the classroom. But hearing back from students the impact that you had on them through whatever choices and whatever success they have in life means the absolute most to the teachers. And I taught next to some amazing math teachers and amazing teachers just in general. And that was just in my school. I know there's amazing teachers out there, and it saddens me that teachers have left the classroom feeling like this is not the profession for them anymore. Because I know for all the bad teachers that were like, oh, I hated that teacher, they never need to teach ever again. There's also so many great, amazing teachers that have stepped away. And I think that's a true disservice to not only our students, but our educational system. Questions. I think getting with a group of people, also having maybe a coach that can help you with going through practice problems and going through, the practice kind of assessments, working through the books. But I think it's really helpful to have like a group of students that you can do and work through those problems and do kind of like some practice sessions. I think that's really, really important. And then also I think having a coach that can help guide you where to focus on and some tips and some tactics will be most important as well. Hey, Surinden, good to have you on. I got a question. How do you evaluate functions? Well, basically just remember a function is going to be like that machine. You have an input and you have an output. So when I say like f of x, x is representing that input value. Now, when it's x, that means it's a undefined, or not undefined, but it's a variable input value. So when I say like f of 5, what we're saying is now I want you to evaluate the function for 5. So wherever there was an x or whatever input variable you have, like f of 2 or f of, like say f of y, f of x is the most common, you're just going to replace your 5 with the x and then go ahead and simplify. And that would be your evaluated, whatever that value is going to be the output of your function. And that is evaluating functions. That would be a really, really nice, that's a good group to be in. So I take that and I appreciate that. I really signed up for tutors for free, but my video is not working and it's not posting. Can it work? I really signed up for tutors for free, but my video is not working and it's not posting. Can it work for it, please? I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe retry again and I'll do my best. Math test on Tuesday. I have a math test on Tuesday. Could you please explain how to 1, rationalize square roots and denominator, such as 4 square root of 6 divided by square root of 3. Remind me if I get to some math today. I know I'm not going to get your question if you submit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. So stay on the stream and I will try to get to some math questions after I get through some of this chat and then just go ahead and repost it. But I would recommend still putting it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. If you have it on like a picture from a test or a quiz, that's why I like you guys submitting your questions, because you're going to see, I just copy and paste from there and I'm able to input it onto the document that you guys can see. It just makes everything much cleaner in that regard. So that's why I ask for you guys to go ahead and submit there. But I will try to remember or go back to that. We'll see how the math questions go. Well, thanks, Kaden. I really appreciate that. F of 3x, how do you solve this? So you're going to replace x with 8. So 3 times 8 is going to be 24. 24 plus 20 is going to be a 44. Yes, Arif, I am taking AP Stats this year, and it's only been a few weeks, but I already miss AP Calc BC. Yeah, I never took AP Stats, so I can't relate with you on that, but I can agree. I think for me personally, I would have enjoyed I did take stats in college and I did not enjoy the course. That's why students are like, oh, do you teach stats or do you help stats? I'm like, no, I don't like stats. I don't know, doesn't resonate with me. So maybe that's where you come from and maybe that's where we can agree upon. But RVP, don't spam. Hey, Gabe, good to have you on. Thanks for showing up. I always appreciate that. What math do you teach? Everything, mostly algebra 1 through calculus. That is what I taught inside the classroom. So that's what I focused my channel on. Who's winning as a teacher, you or their organic chemistry tutor? Well, organic chemistry teacher has amazing videos and his videos are long. They're in depth and he covers a lot of topics. So, I mean, I would say, he's definitely has a command of the space for those in-depth educational videos. And I mean, he's been a great resource for my own students when I was in the classroom, and for, I think, for all of you guys as well. I'm more so focused, not so much on like a learning journey on a video, but really kind of helping you with a quick to the point understanding of a certain concept or problem. And there's good and bad with that. The good is that you usually get a quick understanding of a concept, but sometimes one video is not long enough, or one example is not enough. So you have to kind of maybe go through my library and or watch another video, multiple videos sometimes, to maybe get a clear grasp. But the good is sometimes that's all you need. You don't need to watch a 30-minute video. You just need 3 minutes to understand something that you're getting tripped up on. And that's the way I always approach my channel. It works for a lot of students, but also it doesn't work for other students that are looking for a learning journey. But that is something I am working on. So I am happy to let you know I'll be coming out with some announcements coming up soon. Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Well, awesome. So happy you were able to get that summer assignment. Now you got to tackle the school year. Best of luck. Random question. I love random questions. But have you ever caught a student cheating in class? Or if I taught in the classroom for 14 years, I don't think there was 1 year that I did not catch a student cheating. Not 1 year. Multiple times I would catch students throughout the year. So usually it was not one time, it would be multiple times. And we're going everywhere from the most basic ways of like, having the formulas or answers like on their under their calculator, like old school, like, what happened when I was a school and teacher, and then also some more advanced stuff that students would do. But I'm not going to reveal those secrets just yet. Maybe that's for another video. How do you memorize exponent rules fast? I would think just doing some problems with them, like rewrite them down 10 times. If you rewrite the exponent rules like 10 times on your own, it's going to be boring. It's redundant, but I'm telling you, you probably have them memorized by writing them down 10 times. Write them all down. Maybe do a couple examples, do some problems, but write them all down 10 times. I don't think you need more than 10 times. Do it 10 times, and I bet you can probably have them pretty well memorized by then. Yes, I can. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to have time tonight. So when I get to the math portion of this live stream, then make sure you resubmit that, or go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, which I did have. Where did that question go? Or go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and then I'll try to remember getting to that later. I need an explanation of distance formula, like find A or B in the numbers. Maybe resubmit that at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I'm not really understanding what you're referring to, or put down in the chat something a little bit more detailed, and I'll try to do my best once I get to the math portion. Well, thank you very much. Hi, I'm getting into factoring algebra. What should I know and any tips? So I don't really want to promote something, but I let me start that over because I'm not going to promote anything. I think to answer your question, I'm getting into factoring algebra. What should I know and any tips? Yeah, there's a lot of tips. I have a lot of videos on tips. I think the one thing you need to understand is how multiplication, there's two things actually, how multiplication creates the area. So when we're trying to do factoring, basically what we're doing is we're given the area and we're trying to find the side lengths of the rectangle. Okay, it's basically factoring is multiplication in the reverse. The other thing that I think you need to more so understand is factoring is just the process of rewriting an expression as multiplication. So if you think about distributive property, factoring is like that reverse process. Obviously, I can go much more in depth on this, and I have some videos that do that. But if you just wanted a little bit a larger overview, that's something there. As far as getting into tips, I have videos on that. I think even some ones I most recently did. So it'd probably be best to go through that rather than me trying to yibble yabble my way through everything that you should know on that. That's too long for a convergence to real life. A long concept of infinity. Does convergence and divergence have any real life applications? Thanks for being here, teacher. Yes, absolutely it does. I do not have anything on the top of my head though to offer, but I would definitely have you further investigate that on your own, because I know there's some great explanations and videos online that will probably do a much better explanation to answer what you're looking for than in this live stream. Is Algebra 2 harder, easier, or the same compared to mandatory high school geometry? It all depends. I think I could probably do a poll, and actually, you know what? Let's do a poll. I haven't done a poll in a while, and actually, when I did polls, usually students would be like, nobody would answer them. So let's go ahead and actually, I think I can still do a poll. Where is that? There we go. Let's go and do a poll. Start a poll. I want to see which was harder for you, Algebra 2 or geometry? Oh, I typed that in the wrong one. So I'm going to type this in the poll. You'll see it on the thing. All right, let's see what everybody says. Because for me as a teacher, I taught both courses. I enjoyed geometry more than Algebra 2. But I would say I was also probably better at Algebra 2 than geometry. Weird, maybe. But let's go and see what everybody says. So I'll come back to that question. Tips for advanced functions. I'm not sure. Advanced function, I think, is very much like, pre-calculus. I give my same advice that I'd give for everybody on that. Guys, do the work that is required. Sometimes do more. Ask questions when you get stuck. Find a study partner. Find a study partner. Find a study group. Do math every single day. Be consistent. And I think you can be successful. Hey, Mr. McLogan, I am a freshman taking AP Pre-Calc, good for you, and was curious how in calc you take the integral of polynomial terms. I know how to take integrals of monomials, but polynomials seem more challenging. They're not really that much better. Just remember polynomials are a sum of monomials. So basically, you can split up the polynomial of taking the integral of each and every monomial separately. But, so yeah, that's the quick answer from on there. But, good for you for keeping on the AP Pre-Calculus. Keep challenging yourself. I love that. But don't feel like you're in a rush too, right? You are in a good spot. But I think your curiosity and challenging yourself is a really good trait to have. But don't feel always necessarily bad if you don't feel like you are meeting your standards or your success or where you expect to be. Keep challenging yourself, keep putting in the work, and you're going to be great. Wait, hold on. I was trying to summarize myself. Talking about me was a video a lot, but it never was posted. I still don't understand. I made a video talking about you. Was it me? Something I did? Or video you did? I'm just not sure what you need from me or what you're asking from me. My class is doing arithmetic sequences and functions, and I'm so confused on it right now. Go back to the basics. Go back to the start of what you're learning. Go back to the end, and then and then slowly keep on getting more and more difficult as you feel like you have a good grasp of things. And really, like arithmetic sequences, the process is all going to be the same. The formulas, right? It's the same. So what you're going to be dealing with, though, is more and more difficult type of sequences. So start with very fundamental, basic ones. Maybe your teacher did that. Maybe they didn't. But grow maybe a little bit slower from on there. And I think once you have a firm grasp of that, then you'll kind of see how you can tackle even more difficult from there. But if you feel like you're moving too fast, that's fine. A lot of us can relate to math going too fast. So slow down, go back to the beginning, start with more basic stuff, and kind of try to go a little bit more at your own pace. What was your question, Hertz? I don't remember. I didn't see your thing. Like 342y, find y. I have an exam tomorrow. What's the question? What am I supposed to be doing with finding y? How do you know when? Okay, Cheryl's YouTube channel. I love Cheryl's YouTube channel. Also, how do you know when to factor when multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting rational expressions? Like, when do you redistribute and that stuff? You're the best. If you could submit your question to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, if you have a picture of what you actually are discussing or talking about, that would be really helpful. I'm having a really kind of a hard time understanding exactly how I can address it, but I do want to get to some math questions here. And by getting to my math questions, I could probably address that a little bit better. I'm having trouble with finding tangent lines and normal lines. Yeah, well, it's part like, you're finding the derivative in that regard. So, keep working. Like, again, same thing, like go back to the very basics of understanding, maybe even working with a quadratic, and then kind of, build up from there. Do you not solve 5a plus 2b? Well, I could simplify it because I can't really solve for these two variables with the one expression, but you're just going to want to combine your like terms. Kane has some advice. Here's some advice. Nothing is inherently hard. It's just how you work that you put in. Never be afraid to take a class because it will be hard. Move up. Never be afraid to take a class because it'll be hard. Don't be afraid to put in the work and be challenged. I think that is great advice. Thank you so much for adding that to this live stream. I think you guys should all take that in. I'm in Unicalc. I seem to always be about a week behind in the homework. What should I do? I'm very busy already. I am putting in 8 hours towards school a day. It is what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's normal. Like, I mean, obviously, if you have opportunities to be able to catch up, then do it, right? But if you're working and putting in your biggest effort and you're a week behind on the homework, now, obviously, if that's impacting your grade, maybe you need to be able to see, maybe I can wake up earlier. Maybe I can adjust my schedule so I can try to get caught up. Have conversations with your professor. Let them know where you're at. And if there's any extra support that they can provide you, that might be a benefit as well. But I don't think that's something wrong. When I was like learning math, a lot of times I didn't understand things until like the next chapter. And then I'm like, oh, now I understand what we were learning, and then I look at like my C or D and I'm like, crap, I wish I could like retake it, or like do something about that grade, but it was kind of carved in stone back in the day. So I didn't have that opportunity. But if you're a little bit behind, I think that's okay. Just keep on putting in the work. You'll be okay. But definitely keep communication with your professor. I think that's really, really important. Even if there's nothing they can do, it's important for them to understand where you're at and what you're doing. So please make sure you have conversations with them. What grade do you prefer teaching? I don't know. I just like pre-calculus. That was mostly sophomores and juniors at my school. And so, yeah, I kind of just related, I guess, the most of them. Can you read mine? Yes. Combine your like terms. So maybe resubmit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. If I don't get to it, I'll try to do my best. Well, how do you find the asymptotes? It all depends on what type of function you are dealing with. So if you have a specific question or a specific equation, then you guys can submit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll try to do my best there. I'm actually not not comfortable, but not aware. Well, yeah, I'm not aware, but I'm not familiar. That's the word I was thinking of. I'm not familiar with the standards of AP Pre-Calc, unfortunately. They think they started it the year after I stepped away from the classroom. So I do have the syllabus, but I did look over it briefly when it first came out, but that's about it. So I wouldn't want to get into the binomial theorem. I want to make sure I would be teaching or explain everything exactly the way that you would expect to see it and understand it for your AP exam. All right, Wong, I will try to do my best. Again, guys, I'm not a math genius, so I can't answer every single question. I think some people think that because I was a math teacher, like I can just know and understand everything, but I struggle with math, guys. It takes me sometimes a while to read a question, to understand it. Sometimes I forget things too, right? Even though you do math every single day as like a math teacher, I don't do math every day now. That's for sure. But then even when I did, like it was all focused on what I was teaching in the classroom. And so, a lot of times you guys are submitting questions from different courses and stuff that might be written or asked in a way that I was not familiar with. So I tried to do my best, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not always going to be able to get your guys' questions, but I will do my best. Okay. All right. So if you did go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A and submit your questions, I will work with you guys first. If you just put your question inside the chat, then I'd recommend maybe reposting it inside the chat, or best is going to be putting it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, because again, that's in the link, but I will put up the overlay for you as well, because that's what I'm going to go through first. Okay. So I'm going to work through those questions first, because it's really easy for me to answer questions from there. And then let's see If you have any other questions, like you're like, oh, I was going to ask you about this, or blah, it's not a math question, but it's around math, or blah, 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 put it down in the chat. Once I get done with some math, I will go back through some of those questions and I'll answer them for you. But I do like doing a little math stream, so that's what we're going to do. It's been a long time since I did some math questions live for you guys. I do got to find my pen from on there. But yeah, guys, keep the questions going. I'll come back to through you guys. From there, I'm going to hit up some math questions now. But if you don't have a math question and you have another question related around math, then go ahead and post on the link. I think I can actually keep this up. Yeah, and then we'll go from on there. Okay. All right. So I did get a question. Well, actually, you know what? I'll come back to that person. I did get a math question I was going to do, but let's see. I always got to look at them though first. When I first started doing these, I used to just take questions exactly how they were. And of course, like you get tricked up, you'll make some mistakes, you know, whatever else. And there's always something that I'd miss out. And again, remember guys, I'm doing a live stream, right? So I'm talking, I'm monitoring the stream, and I'm trying to do math. So it's been a while since I did a question like this, but long I believe this is the question you submitted. So I'll try to do my best. And then actually I'll go through the chat for those of you that I said post it in the chat and you guys didn't do it, or I said post it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A and you didn't do it. I'll try to do my best. All right. So I'll get to your guys' questions. There's you guys are posting in the chat. But again, just let's go ahead and do some math here real quick. My camera. It's been so long since I did this. Sorry for all of you that needed math help. Okay. Voila. Let's get into this one. So it says write the equation of each function. So we got this function here. All right. So there's a couple things we need to know about this. All right. First thing is we have the zeros. Stop. Okay. So it looks like we have a 0 at -3. We have a 0 at 2. And we have a 0 at 4. Okay. So first of all, I can write the equation here. Oh, I do have some older math here. Oh, look at all these old people. I never answered their questions. Sorry about that, guys. Maybe those will be some math videos later. All right. So first of all, let's just call this function f of x. So I know that from f of x that this is a third degree polynomial. I have my 3 zeros and you can see it follows that end behavior here. So I have a x plus 3. I'm going to have a x minus 2. And then I'm going to have an x minus 4. Remember when you're writing the polynomials for the zeros, if x equals k is a 0, we can rewrite that as a factor of x minus k. Okay, so that's what we call the 0. And this is what we call the factor. That's why you see those different signs going in from on there. So now there is one thing though that we do not know is we don't know how the graph is being stretched or compressed. So what we need to do is actually add a third variable in here, and that is going to be a. So I'm actually going to delete this right here. I'll write my equation like that, and then I'm going to put in a different color for my a. We'll use blue. Okay, now I'm not going to worry about a here for a second. I just want to go ahead and multiply these. Just pick 2 binomials to go ahead and multiply and work from there. So I'll try to do this fast in my head and try to not make a mistake. So I'll keep the x plus 3. And let's see, this is going to be x squared. That'd be positive 8 and negative 6. X squared minus a 6x plus 8. Now, on this one, I will say, I think it's easiest to go ahead and use the box method. I mean, you can definitely use distributive property for sure and probably not be too bad. But if you're a student that was like me, you'll probably make mistakes when you start doing things. And this really isn't that much. I like using this method, the box method, just to keep things organized. I think it's just so helpful. So now all we're doing is, again, somebody was asking like what you need to know about factoring. Like this is really, really important, understanding how the product gives you the area. So now just find the product of each and every one of these rectangles. So multiplying length times width. So this is going to be an x cubed, negative 6x squared. This will be a 8x. This is going to be a 3x squared. This is a negative 18x. And this is going to be a positive 24. Now, you can see on the diagonals, let's undo that. Now what I want you guys to see is on the diagonals, these are what we call like terms. Okay, so I can rewrite, I'm going to keep that a there. So I have f of x equals an a times, let's see, we have a x cubed. This is going to be a negative 3x squared. This is going to be a negative 10x. And that's going to be plus a 24. Okay, now you might say, all right, so how do we solve for this a? Well, they gave us something very, very important in this video, guys. They gave us a coordinate point. Now remember, a coordinate point is listed as an x and a y. Now, obviously, they talked about the function here and they're using y instead of f of x. So I probably didn't need to use f of x. I probably should have just kept everything with a y here. So, but either way, y is still the output variable, just like the f of x. So therefore, that's going to be replaced with with an 8 in that case. So now what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to replace my f of x, or my y in this case, as an 8 equals an a, and then times wherever I see an x, I'm going to replace that with a 1. So this would be a 1 cubed minus a 3 times 1 squared minus a 10 times 1 plus a 24. And now all I'm going to do is solve for a. So let's go ahead and simplify this. Let's see, that's a negative 10, so that's going to be positive 12. Actually, I'm doing too much. So this will be an a times, let's see, 1 squared is 1, minus 3, minus 10, plus a 24. All right, let's work from left to right. That's going to be negative 2, negative 12. Negative 12 plus 24 is going to be a positive 12. So a equals a times a positive 12. Divide by 12, divide by 12, swap over a, divide by 4 on top and bottom. That is going to be a 2/3. So now what I can do is go back to this equation, and now I can plug back in. So my final answer is going to be a f of x equals a 2/3 times a x cubed minus a 3x squared minus a 10x plus a 24. Now, if you're doing like a multiple choice answer, you might not see it written like this. You might see it with the f of x, or the 2/3 being distributed. So you can just go ahead and distribute that and simplify it from there. Let's go ahead and do that just for fun, because I mean, what else are we doing on a math live stream except for having some fun with doing some math? How I got 4 as a 0. Well, that's because 4 crosses the x-axis. That's why it's considered a 0. Hey, no 4. No 0 at 4. Why is there not a 0 at 4? Oh, you are so correct. Thank you so much. Dang it, I did this whole problem wrong. I don't know why. I saw the 4. I just read it. It's a 5. Dang it. All right. Well, you know what? The process is exactly the same. HP Fire Game. Good catch. This is why I don't do live streams. Dang. I'm going to erase everything, guys. Sorry, I'm not going to talk my way through it again, but I got to make the correct answer. Man, that's embarrassing. I guess a little rusty, huh? I guess I should probably just cut it like this. Oh, jeez. So embarrassing. Thank you so much for that. It was not, I was like, I don't know. The way I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's 5. No, it's not 5, Mr. McLogan. Or it's not 4, it's 5. Okay, so that's how you make mistakes right there. So we have y. It's okay. I just visually saw the 4 and I was like, that's it. All right, let's do this again. So we're going to write the equation. We have the zeros. We have x equals negative 3 crossed, x equals 2, and x equals 5. So remember, since if a 0 is written as x equals k, then we can write it in factored form. So right now we're going to have a times a x plus 3 times an x minus 2 times a x minus 5. Now, why did I talk about this a? Because a is actually going to be the vertical stretch or compression of my polynomial. So what I like to do now to expand this is we can go ahead and multiply these two out first. You can pick any two binomials you want to. This one's going to be a x squared minus a 7x plus a 10. When I am doing a binomial times a trinomial, I do like to use the box method. Even though I'm trying to speed things up, I'm still going to use the box method because, yeah, as you just saw, I can make mistakes. Believe it or not, I would still make mistakes time and time again. You know, so far removed from the classroom, so many math problems solved in the classroom, so many math problems solved live on YouTube, so many math problems solved on videos. And you're still going to be a human being. So it's possible. It's okay. That's why I'm not an applied mathematician. For one, that's for sure. I like and understand to explain things and do things. But no, I am not very diligent with my work. I easily can oversee things and make mistakes. So the nice thing about the box method is, again, why did I get an x squared? Yeah, that should be an x squared. Is on the diagonal, you're going to have like terms. So you can easily rewrite your answer. So y equals an a times an x cubed minus a 4 x squared. That was a 21, so minus an 11x plus a 30. Okay, so now to be able to solve for a, notice that we have this coordinate point 1, 8. Remember, 1 represents the x value, y represents 8. So therefore, I can plug those into my polynomial to go ahead and solve for my a. So y replace for 8, then a. So we have a 1 cubed minus a 4 times 1 squared minus an 11 times 1 plus a 30. Okay, so let's just simplify this one more time. I don't want to make another mistake. So 1 minus 4 minus 11 plus 30. So I'll go from left to right. 1 minus 4 is a negative 3. Minus 11 is a negative 14. Negative 14 plus 30 is going to be a positive 16. If you hear me or see me make another mistake, let me know. So now I can divide by 16. Divide by 16. A is going to equal to a 1/2. So we can write our answer a couple different ways. So the first way I showed the answer is this is going to be our polynomial here with our a. So we can rewrite this as a 1/2 times a x cubed minus a 4x squared minus an 11x plus a 30. And then you could also distribute that. So you'd have a 1/2 x cubed minus a 2x squared. I'm doing this math in my head. I'm distributing the 1/2 x to each and every one of these terms minus a 11/2 x plus a 15. Voila. Okay. If there is a question on the math, make sure you guys go. I'll try to answer those questions. I'll try to actually go back through the chat. I do see another one of you guys got your questions, but hopefully, Wong, that was helpful. Sorry for making that mistake. Ava, whoa, hello, I'm pre-calc and learn about limits. Sometimes you are given a rational function and there is a radical in the denominator and an integer or something like that. And sometimes it produces an indeterminate answer. What is a radical? I know exactly what you're referring to, but it's been so long since I worked through those problems. I'm afraid I don't think my explanation is going to be sufficient for what you need at this moment. I do apologize. I'm not sure what calling it is, but you're looking for rationalizing the denominator. That's what you're going to want to do on those expressions when you have that rational radical function. But yeah, you're going to want to look to rationalize just looking to rationalizing the denominator. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I worked through those problems from there. Is there any videos on calculus? Yeah, I have a ton of videos on calculus, a whole playlist of them. So go and check them out. I feel like I made the mistake like that on the test. No fun, but yeah, it happens. Yep, and on my own, and when you're doing a live stream. I mean, how fun is that? Yeah, there he goes. Hey, McLogan, taking linear algebra this quarter. Awesome. I'm practicing 3 equations with 3 unknowns matrices. So far, so good. We've got my Seahawks versus your Lions. You're right. You remembered. Good for you. Should be an exciting game. It will be an exciting game. I should live stream on that. Awesome, Wong. I'm so happy I was helping you out. Yes, that is for sure. All right. So let me go back through this chat. I think there was a couple questions. I mean, I don't know. Some people asked. I don't know if they are even still on. Let's go and get to it. So Jaden says, how do you know how to solve this? Well, we're not actually going to be solving this because we're not finding a value of this, but 5a plus a 2b plus a 6a minus a 2b. Okay, so all we simply want to do, guys, is we can rearrange things, right? 2 plus 4 is the same as 4 plus 2. 2 plus 4 plus 5 is the same thing as 5 plus 4 plus 2, right? So we can rearrange things. Just make sure when you're rearranging, especially if you have subtraction, because you cannot rearrange with subtraction, just make sure you keep that negative with that 2. Because the commutative property only works across addition and multiplication. So we need to make sure we're keeping that as a negative. We just can't be switching things around. So what I can do here is say, well, I can group the 5a and the 6b, or 5a and the 6a. So 5a plus 6a. And then over here, I can rewrite this as a 2b minus a 2b. Okay. Now, when you're adding variables with coefficients, basically all we're simply doing is saying, 5 apples plus 6 apples is going to be how many? 11 apples, right? It's kind of like that idea. Another way you can think about it is factoring out that a and just saying the only things I can combine is the 5 and the 6, right? So that's how we're going to get an 11a. And over here, hopefully you recognize we have a positive expression and a negative expression that are exactly the same. So that's going to go to 0. So the only thing left we have is going to be an 11a. Somebody also had one with a radical. Hearts, I'm not sure what I can do with your question. So if you want to repost that or go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I will, I need your explanation of the distance formula, like A or B and then numbers. Yeah, that'd be helpful. The presence angle. I'm not sure what exactly you mean with the presence angle. I'm not sure if I recall anything from on there. I can graph it for you, but I'm not sure if there's a certain definition with that presence angle. Practice says, how do you evaluate 3x plus 20? And then how to find f8. So again, I mentioned this actually in the live stream, but in this case, since my input variable is going to be x, and this is going to be my rule, so this is what we call the input, and this is going to be what we call the rule. Okay, so now what I'm simply going to do is replace my input variable x with an 8, and then I'm going to plug it into the rule. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify and evaluate. So 3 times 8 is 24. So that's a 24 plus a 20, which is going to be a 44. That is going to be what we call the output. So when you understand this stuff on radical or on functions, it's very, very important because it's going to come up quite a bit. Here we go. This is a person. I have a math test on Tuesday. RP asked me this question. I have a math test on Tuesday. Could you please explain how to, 1, rationalize square roots and denominators such as 4 square root of 6 divided by square root of 3? Okay, so guys, when we're trying to rationalize the denominator, basically what we're trying to do is get this radical off the denominator. So to get the radical off the denominator, we can multiply by the square root of 3. Why? Well, because the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is equal to, oops, let's move that over there. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is, get out of there. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is just going to equal to the square root of 3 squared, right? Well, the square root and squaring are inverse operations, so therefore that's just going to give us a 3. So whatever you do in the denominator, though, you have to do in the numerator, right? If I have the equation 1/2, I have to multiply by 4 in the top and a 4 in the bottom. That's going to give me an equation or a fraction of 4/8, which is the exact same value here of 1/2. So multiply the square root of 3 on the top and on the bottom. Therefore, remember radicals, the rules of radicals, you can when you have a radical times a radical, as long as the index is the same, you multiply the two radicands. So 4 times the square root of an 18 divided by 3. Now, what I want to do is say, can I further simplify this radical? And to do that, what you want to simply do is say, well, What is the largest square number that evenly divides into 18? And that number is going to be a 9. So 9 times 2 divided by 3. And then here, just like we have two radicals, you can multiply the radicands. Well, if you have two under the radical, if you have the multiplication, you can break that up. So therefore, this would be 4 times the square root of 9 times the square root of 2 divided by 3. What do we know about the square root of 9? That's going to be 3. So 4 times 3 times square root of 2 over 3. Division property, 3 divided by 3 is just going to equal to 1. So my final answer is 4 square root of 2. Whew. All right. I am almost popping up a whole hour with you guys. No more new questions, so that's good. Let's see if you guys got anything else in the chat. Spitfire or rapid fire. Let's knock it out, and I'll try to let you guys get off with your Sunday here. Boom. All right. Hey, any help with the math question? Well, you better post that math question quick. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I'll try to do my best. I'm doing calc right now and very watching pre-calc vid. It's good. Well, awesome. Wait, what? I'm doing calc 1 right now. And is watching your pre-calc vid a good strategy? I don't know. I have a lot of pre-calculus. Maybe you're talking about like pre-calculus in one day. I think that will be a good kind of refresher and maybe some foundational stuff to help you. But yeah, I mean, you got to focus on what you're doing in calculus as well. That's good to hear. Today is my prelim for mathematics in the modern world. Wish me luck. Best of luck. You got this. Any tips for calculus? Do the work. It's a lot of work. And you know, sometimes you're going to struggle. Make sure you just get help. Whenever you start to struggle, get help. Don't let that fester because calculus does build throughout the whole course. So if you get stuck at the beginning of the year and you don't catch yourself up, it builds. No, I did not. Oh, okay. All right. I mean, hopefully I don't, yeah. I mean, sometimes that will be good. And I think that's a good refresher foundation for you. So you might not have come in from having that foundational aspects from your pre-calc teacher. No worries. Just keep on putting in the work. I think you're going to be okay. Yeah, I know. It's been since 2010. I've been on YouTube. Crazy. Yes, you are. Yes. Sometimes that can be correct in that regard. And yes, I'm doing a very simplistic absolute value in this regard, going from in there. Hopefully you understand that instructional approach. But yes, I totally, yeah, there we go. I totally understand and get your point of explanation from there. Well, happy to help you out. Oh, let me move those over. Oh, I got to go and check my poll. Thank you. Thank you for checking that out. All right. Poll. Let's see what we got on the poll. I had the poll 108 votes, algebra 2. It's pretty close though. But yeah, 57% over 43. That's awesome. Thank you guys for submitting on that. I have 40,000 subs. Awesome. And always would love more. Of course. Keep putting in the work. You got this. All right. How do you factor this function? Factor is outside the bracket. You mean how to graph this function? Yeah. So what that means is you're going to have a yeah, that's kind of, I mean, that would be a phase shift from in there. You could put them in as that 4 is still going to be inside of the function. So that's going to be still going to be not a phase shift. Yeah, you're still going to have a phase shift pi over 4 to the right, but you're going to have a horizontal compression of 4 from there. That's fun hanging out. It was as well. All right, guys, I am going to peace out. I will be back next week. If you have those questions or math questions, put them inside the not put them in the chat. Go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I will pick up where I left off. All right, guys, have a good week. Cheers.